Hello everyone, what's up? Again in Concepts in Kabbalah, whatever we call this series. Hope everybody is doing good. Last week we didn't have a session, so this week we do. Today's topic is still vegetative, animate, and speaking, which are in general the four stages or the main stages of the will to receive. As we know, just a second, I'll open up this board. It doesn't work. Well, hopefully it will soon. If not, then we'll read more. But in Kabbalah, we mainly talk about four levels of the will to receive. So everything in reality, or all the matter in reality, is the will to receive. Everything besides it is what Kabbalists call a simple light. So you have some kind of thing which is called light. You can call it information or pleasure or whatever. And then you have the matter itself, which in Kabbalah actually is a force, which is called the will to receive. And I see that this doesn't work. Nice. Too bad. Anyway, I cannot draw. So if we have the will to receive, then we divide it into four main levels, which are still, vegetative, animate, and speaking. Okay. Now we'll explain the four levels, and like everything in Kabbalah, you can talk about the general or the particular equally, because you have the same laws, the same principles operate in both of them, okay? So just like we have these four levels in our perception of reality, that's how we have them also in the internality of a person. Good. Now, because I cannot draw, maybe we'll read a bit. So we'll go to the first article, which is actually Bala Sulam's article, which makes it a bit more advanced than what we usually read here, because usually we read stuff from Michael Lightman's blog or articles which are more suited to our generation, but still sometimes we go into much deeper materials of Bala Sulam. This article is not so hard, so I think it will be okay, because this is still some kind of basic series. So still, vegetative, animate, and speaking, from the book I heard from the year 1940. Still is something that does not have an authority of its own. Rather, it is under the authority of its landlord and must satisfy every wish and desire of its landlord. Hence, when the Creator created creation for His glory, as it is written, everyone that is called by my name and whom I have created for my glory, it means that the Creator created creation for His own needs. The nature of the landlord is imprinted in the creatures, meaning all the creatures cannot work for another, but for themselves. Okay? So, as we know in our world, still is the level of matter in which nothing changes, so it stays the same. Like the power of gravity or the power of its atoms that are cling to one another and keeps the form of the steel, is what characterizes it, okay? So this comes from spirituality, that in spirituality the quality of still means that you just perform the basic laws of nature. And here you can talk about two layers. Like he writes here, that still is something that just goes according to his will to receive. So the Creator created us all in the quality of the will to receive, meaning that every one of us wants to optimize his pleasure or to maximize his pleasure and to minimize his pain or his effort. So we all want maximum in the investment of minimum. And so we are all considered that still compared compared to the general system. Okay, so we have no movement of our own. That's why everyone that works according to his will to receive, according to his ego, is considered as non-existent, because he has no force of his own. Is just exercising the force, the initial force that the Creator has imprinted inside of him. Okay. And the second layer that we can talk about, which is a bit more deep, so if you don't understand it, just ignore it, is that also in spirituality. So also in spirituality, when a person acquires the quality of bestow, there is a level in which he's just like an embryo, meaning he acts according to the quality of bestow that controls him. Okay, so he's like an angel, like an embryo in his mother's womb that is being controlled by the womb. So he still has no action of his own. He still doesn't go against the Creator. Okay, so you can say that you don't go against the Creator in corporality, and then you're just like the rest of the world, or you're still in the level of spirituality. Okay, and in this context, I'll just say that, of course, that all the animals in our world, all the trees in our world, all the steel in our world, is also considered the level of steel, because they just exercise what the Creator imprinted inside of them. If it's not egoistic traits, but it's like a balance in the level of corporality. Okay, so it's some kind of balance in nature. Okay, so this is steel. It's a very complex level, because you have many shades of steel, but I hope that it's clear. Now let's talk about vegetative. Vegetative is something that exists only in spirituality, because it requires some kind of action against the Creator. Of course, that we have in our world vegetables and trees, as an example of that. Vegetative is that which already has its own authority to some extent. It can already do something that is contrary to the opinion of the landlord. This means that it can already do things not for itself but to bestow. This is already the opposite of what exists in the will of the landlord, which he had imprinted in the lower ones to work only with the will to receive for themselves. Okay? So again, in our world, the example is pretty straightforward. You have the force of gravity, which is like the will to receive. It symbolizes the will to receive that holds everything to the earth, and of course the steel level is clinging to the earth. But you see that with trees, they have this amazing ability to go against gravity, and so they grow up, which is something which is like extraordinary if you think of it. And it comes from spirituality, and in spirituality, again, to be in a vegetative state means that you go against what the Creator imprinted of you. So you feel and you are aware that this is your nature, that your nature compels you to work or act or think in a certain way, and you do efforts to overcome it, to go above it. Yet, as we can see in corporal flora, even though they are the mobile and expand in width and length, still all the plants have a single property. So it means that although you can already scrutinize what is good for you, what is bad for you, and so just like the tree, you are being what's the word in English? I forgot it. So you chase the source of pleasure like the sun, or you avoid or water, or you avoid certain hazards, but still in general you go just against gravity, you just go up. And the forest as a whole works as a whole. You don't have individuality of a certain tree. So the same in spirituality, a person which is in the vegetative state, of course that in order to go against his will to receive, he needs to act in a society, that this society helps him go above his own nature, but he's just part of the society. Still his uniqueness is not being shown or revealed. In other words, there is not a single plant that can go against the method of all the plants. Rather, they must adhere to the rules of the flora and are incapable of doing anything against the mind of their contemporaries. I cannot pronounce this. Contemporaries. I cannot pronounce this. Thus, they have no life of their own, but are parts of the life of all flora. This means that all the plants have a single form of life for all the plants. All the plants are like a single creature, and individual plants are specific organs of that animal. Similarly, in spirituality, there are people who have already acquired the force to overcome the will to receive to some degree, but are confined to the environment. They cannot do the opposite of the environment they live in, yet they do the opposite of what their will to receive wants. This means that they already work with the will to bestow. Okay, so they still didn't attain what does it mean to realize yourself and the will to bestow, but you understand that you need to go against the will to receive in general. Okay, and we can say that these same laws work not only in the world around us, or what we call the perception of what we see as the imaginary world around us, and not only in our spiritual perception, but you can say that in every level of our consciousness or of awareness, in every level we have these 4 degrees. So it doesn't matter in what degree I catch myself in, I have part of it that I'm in the level of still, meaning I cannot go against my nature. There is a certain part of me that actually can go above my nature in a general way, which is the vegetative, and I have a part which is the animate and the speaking, and etc. etc. Good. Animate. We see that each animal has its own characteristic. They are not confined to the environment, but each of them has its own sensation and characteristic. They can certainly operate against the will of the landlord, meaning they can work and bestow, and are also not confined to the environment. Rather, they have their own lives, and their vitality does not depend on their friends' life, yet they cannot feel more than their own being. In other words, they have no sensation of the other, and naturally cannot care for the other. So what we say about the animate level is that they don't have the quality of shame, that they can identify with the other. They feel others, but as part of a herd, part of a group. If others are in stress, I'm in stress too. If they are afraid, I'm afraid too. But they cannot identify themselves inside of the other's eyes and replace the other with their own personality, and that's why they don't have perception of time, because in order to go into past or future, you need to identify with someone that was or will be above time, and not just cleave to the certain moment, to your certain body, and all kinds of other traits that are unique to the animal level. For example, they use the environment, they are individual, they can move inside of it, they get along with it, but they don't truly re-engineer the environment. They don't recreate the environment like humans, meaning they're not becoming like the creator. And that is because they are lacking the capability of re-engineering nature, understanding how it works, and take advantage of that laws. And this is something which is unique to the humans. Now they have the ability to use the environment to a certain level, just like beavers, you can say, or I don't know what other examples, bats. But it's not the same thing. It's not like building a greenhouse or building a computer, which means to mimic nature in a completely different level. And this is, again, this is a result of the ability to feel something other of yourself, meaning to put yourself in the eyes of nature, to put yourself in the eyes of others. And so they also don't have shame. Shame is something that we've talked about 2 weeks ago, so I hope you remember. And in spirituality, it means that one has a connection with the Creator already, becoming like the Creator, but still not in the sense of the general system, from his own unique perception. Speaking has virtues. 1, it acts against the will of the landlord, just like vegetative and animate. 2, it is not confined to its contemporaries like the vegetative, meaning it is independent from society, meaning it has free choice if I want to subject myself to society or not. 3, it also feels the other and hence can care for them and complement them by feeling and regretting with the public and being able to rejoice in the solace of the public and by the ability to receive from the past and from the future. Animals, however, feel only their own being. Okay, so I think we've explained that in general. Good. Let's see if we have questions. Just a second. Let me see if we have technical problems. No, we don't. Okay. Now I've pasted 2 links to more simple explanations from Lightman's blog about the 4 levels. So you can read them. I'm sure they will help you a lot in understanding this topic. And now let's see if you have questions. No questions on Facebook. No questions on Facebook. If shame is a good thing, why does it feel bad? I don't know, there are many good things that feel bad. We don't go according to our feeling. If you emphasize with your body, every evolution will feel bad to you because there is nothing that we acquire which is not being bought by pain. From pain of teeth to pain of growing up, pain of failure. So you need to always identify with the higher level in order to, and to receive it as good in order to develop. So I won't go according to the feeling. Okay, questions in YouTube. We have a lot of text. Let's see if there are questions or just general discussion. Have you ever heard of the channel Gematria Effect News? No, I haven't. Shalom from North Texas. What do you mean by link? Link, I didn't get it. Hello from Connecticut. Mombasa. Nice. Ohio, Paris. I am Lebanese living in Paris and a KBU student. Cool. I came across the abbreviation ACHAP in Rabash article. Could you please draw insight on it? I would be happy to do that, but I have a problem that it's not according to the topic today, and also I cannot draw, which is a problem. But I will say that every spiritual entity, which is called a Parzuf, is divided into 2 parts. The part which is has the desires, which are more that it's easier to work with in order to bestow. These are called Galgalta Enaim, in Hebrew, skull and eyes. And there are parts which are more coerce, more stronger will to receive, harder to work with in order to bestow, which is called Ozen Chotem Peh, Achap, like ear, nose, and mouth. Now, if you're a KBU student, then you'll surely learn much more about it as you advance. Don't worry about it. Good. Hello from Pakistan and from Cameroon. Wow, we have the whole world today. And here we have an explanation from Gordon about Achap. Thank you. what can I do when I feel bored? And also, sir, also tell the time of your class. If you're bored, it means that you have no goal or no current desire, which can lead to all kinds of negative things like depression or I don't know what. It's good to have a goal in life. If you don't have nothing that you find worth living for, maybe live for others and do stuff for others. But try to appreciate time, because time is like the most valued resource we have, like a gift or a loan that we receive from the Creator. And so if you're bored, you're wasting it. I'm not saying that it's not good from time to time to have some time to yourself and doing nothing, but manage that as well, okay? Okay, now tell the time of your class. So, the question is which kind of class, okay? So we have this series, which is half an hour every time, and it started 22 minutes ago. I don't know what time you are, what time zone you are, because we have people from Pakistan, from Paris, from Ohio, from I don't know where, Argentina. So 20 minutes ago we started, and it's until 8 minutes from now, okay? This is a weekly session of which is like try to explain concepts in Kabbalah every time something stands on its own. Now I have another class which is much more advanced, which is like one of the more advanced courses about the structure of the worlds in Kabbalah, and it's like an annual course. It's almost a year. We go through an article of Baal Sulam, very advanced stuff. And we start this year course on September 15th. So it's like 2 weeks from now. We're going to start it. It's according to North America time zone. So if you're not in North America, it might be not convenient to you in a time zone. And you must also be an advanced, or how do you call it, a graduate of the Kabbalah environment. So if you're not a Kabbalah student, you can register in the link in the Kabbalah. You should go through all the courses there, basic courses, and then you can join it. And we started in 2 weeks from now. Having said all that, you have also the link in the description box to all the playlist of these sessions, so you can watch whenever you want all these concepts we've talked about already. And also in Kabbalah you have the recording of all the classes. If the obtaining of the upper force is considered in correction to it, did we all begin in life as correct, or is it considered a realignment after the fact? We start our life after the breaking, meaning after everything, all the corrected state shattered, but we have the corrected state in us, in potential, that we need to realize, but we didn't start from a corrected state. Thank you. I'm also a student of Kabbalah. Good. Then hopefully you can join our course on September 15. But it's not for everyone. Usually we have like 100 students in a year that go through all the year. It's not easy, but it's interesting. So we'll be happy to have you. Does Kabbalah have any classes that teach Hebrew? I think they do. I think there is a course that talks about Hebrew that will help Kabbalists, that will help people study Kabbalah. You can check it out in Kabbalah. I have no clue. When will you start Ticha class? That's exactly what I've talked about. I've watched all the archives. Wow, that's nice. Nice to hear. But yes, as I've said, September 15th. Last session, Eran's Kabbalah class ran 41 weeks. Yeah, that's a lot, 41 weeks. Yeah, well, you need to be patient. It's 7:55 in Pakistan. So it's cool for you. So I think Ticha lesson will be in the middle of the day for you. Okay, let's see if we have more questions. I'm the worst Kabbalah student. I study all of the time and don't understand anything we're learning. Maybe you're the best student. you know, maybe the studies are not meant for you to understand, but to increase the desire in you to understand, and then maybe answers comes from a different place. Sometimes difficult, never impossible. Wow, these students learning under you are very lucky. Oh, thank you. Easier Kabbalah classes too advanced for me? I don't know, David. If you're in the intermediate or graduate environment, then it will be okay. As for students in Kabbalah who are still not in the graduate, I'm not sure. Better ask Zohar, he's the manager. Here, Deborah is saying, yes, there are Hebrew classes. Benzi teaches it in Europe, Kabbalah. Well, I don't know. If you want Hebrew, you can just ask the Kabbalah secretary email, and then you'll get an answer. Somebody went through the Pticha archive twice. Psh, nice. Nice to hear that there are people actually think that. It gives you some motivation to do it all over again. It's not easy to give an annual class. Okay, so I see no more topic-related questions. Then I guess we'll see you next week. Are you having a good day? Well, actually, now it's improved. It's a question. Nice question. Okay, thank you, everybody. See you next week. Take care. Bye-bye. And if you know of people who are actually students of Kabbalah who want to study a more advanced course, let them know about September 15 in Kabbalah, okay? So let your friends know, because then sometimes we get people coming 3 months after we start, and they get angry that they didn't know of it, and then they have to wait for almost a year. And so if you know of somebody that might be interested in Pticha, meaning studying about the structure of the words, Patzufim, let them know about September 15. Take care. Bye-bye.